Hey everybody, Mark here again with another grammar video. This time we're going to talk about our reported speech again, but we're not going to talk about sentences. We're going to talk about questions. And they're a bit different than when we talk about sentences. So, of course, if you haven't learned reported speech before, if this is your first time learning reported speech, I want you to go back and look at our reported speech sentences video. That one will give you the basics, because when you do reported speech, you have to change the grammar a bit. You have to change the pronouns, right? You have to change the tense. And I teach you how to change the pronouns and the tense, right? The basics in the reported speech sentences video. But today, right, we're going to look at our questions. So take a look here. If I say, where do you live? Where do you live? Do you live in Singapore, right? If I ask you those questions, but then you want to ask, or you want to tell your friend what I asked you. You want to report about our conversation to someone else, right? You would say, oh yeah, right? Mark, the teacher, right? The teacher Mark asked me, what did he ask you? He asked me where I lived. You're like, what? What happened here? Okay, don't worry, we'll break it down in a second. Or if I say this one, I say, do you live in Singapore? I'll change it. I say, oh, Mark asked me if or whether I lived in Singapore, right? So take a look. What happened? As I had to with the reported speech, here I also have to change those important things like the pronoun. Where do you live? Mark asked me where I lived, right? I'm asking you. So when you speak to your friend, you change the you to an I, okay? And I also have the word live, right? Where do you live? This question is a present simple question. If you see present simple, I have to change it, right? I usually change it to past simple. Okay, same thing here. I have the do you changes I, live changes lived. Now the tricky part, what did I do here? With my question, right? I put it after the asked, right? Or if I have the do, where did do go? There's no do, right? So that's the other big change when we use the reported speech, right? The do will disappear. We don't use the do, right? We keep it as a normal subject and a verb after our new word, right? No do, instead, right? For this sentence, a yes, no, we're using if or whether. So let's break down that structure a little bit more, okay? First is our question word structure, right? So this is if we have a word like where, right? Where, who, what, right? Those are our five, if we do our 5 W's, 1 H, right? Our who, what, where, when, why, and then H, I do my how, right? There's a couple how long, how far, how much, right? Those are our question words. For those, we can do this pattern, okay? We're going to do, oh, where'd it go? Oh, is my computer angry? Oh, no, there it is. We're gonna do our question word, right? I'll do QW, question word, plus subject, plus a verb, okay? He asked me where I lived. Where I lived, right? Question word, subject, verb. If I do yes, no, let me see. Yes, no. Remember we had our special word. It's like, do you? Are you? Right? We're going to use an if. Sometimes people use whether, right? And then same pattern. We're going to do a subject plus our verb. If I can fit it all. Uh-oh. I'll just keep with for now, right? Whether is sometimes used, but it's not as common, right? So again, the if, sometimes our whether, okay? Yeah, oh, come on, let me fit it on. I'll try to fit the whole thing on. This means whether, okay? So ask me if or whether, subject, verb. So now we're just gonna do some examples. See if you can help me make a reported question. So I'm gonna ask you, which train should I take? Oh, Mark, he asked me, what do I do? Do you see a question word or is it a yes, no? Which train should I take? Yes. No, not a yes, no question. So we're going to use our question word, right? And then this one, if I use which, we often have another word after. Which book, which teacher. This one, which train, okay? And then after our question words or question word, remember, we have to use our subject, right? Right, this pattern always, question word, subject, verb for this pattern, right? So which train? Question word, okay? Then subject, person, right? Which train? I, verb, should, and take, right? He asked me which train I should take. So far good, everybody? We have our pieces, right? We have our question, we have our subject, and we have our verb, okay? Just like that. This one are together the verbs, should, take, okay? Should eat, should go, right? That pattern. Okay, one more. Where's the bathroom? This is a very common question, right? So we're gonna do same thing, right? We're gonna do our question word, where, then our subject. What's the subject here, right? We're talking of, what are we talking about? The bathroom, right? And then, okay, is we change to was, okay? Again, for our reported speech, okay? You're lucky, should didn't have to change. Should has no way to change, so we keep should together as should, but is we can change to was, okay? Now this one's a very important question I ask my students very often. Do you like your class at ULC? Right? And I would be like, oh, do you like your class? Now this one, right? Is there a 5W, 1H? Nope, right? Who, what, where, when, why, how? I don't see them. I just see do. So this is called a yes, no question, right? If it's a yes, no question, we need to use that. Remember, we need to use that if or whether, okay? You can choose either one, but you can use if or whether for this type, okay? So I'm gonna use if because if I think is more popular, especially for Americans. So he said, do you like your English? He asked me if you, what did we change you to? I, right? Like, change liked, right? Oh, your, what do we do? Do you like your English class? He asked me if I liked my English class, right? At ULC. Okay, so if you see yes, no questions like this, that's your time to use that one, to use the if or the, use the if or the whether, right? If you have that pattern. All right, so I think that's my, I have two more, sorry, I thought I was done. Two more, I'll do these a bit more quickly. I know you guys have to go soon. So here, if I do, how was your trip? Step one, right? Again, step one, is there a question word? Yes, there is, right? Ask them how. Next, we have to think about the subject. Okay, how was your trip? Oh, I asked him how his trip, right? And then remember the was. We learned this in our sentences example. We can use the past simple for past simple, or we can change it to past perfect. So both of those okay. You could ask him how his trip was, or I asked him how his trip had been. Okay? This example, I said I asked another person. I'm talking about our conversation. Okay? So good. So we had our subject, and then 3, we needed to figure out the verb, right? And if you want these examples a little bit more, remember the subject, we have to change the pronoun, right? And then our verb, we have to, right, change the tense. Usually we have to change the tense. Okay. This one I'll let you guys try. Have you ever been to Thailand? This one, oh, I'll talk about me. The teacher on YouTube asked me, have you ever? Have you ever? Do you see a question word? No, right? No question word. So we can use our if, remember? Our if or our friend whether. And he asked who? He asked you, right? Whether I have been changes to had been. Remember, change to past, right? And then to Thailand. Okay? Oh, and I forgot the ever. You don't have to add the ever, but if you want to keep the sentence the same, have you ever been to Thailand? We can still add whether I had ever been to Thailand. That's okay. Subject, verb, keep the pattern the same. Yeah, oh, and now, okay, now we reached the end of my examples. I hope that helped you guys. If it did, please like, subscribe. You can comment below. If one of these examples confused you or you would like more explanation, right? Please comment below. We'll try to either make a video or give you some advice about how to improve your understanding of this grammar. But as always, have a wonderful week. And until I see you next time, this is Mark at ULC signing off.